Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to be talking about the latest CTE update, which brought Ammo 2.0 changes, but also brought 4 new level 10 weapons. Now these 4 new level 10 weapon variants of the existing weapons require you to not only unlock the existing weapons, but then you have to get 300 kills with each of those level 10 weapons, plus some additional requirements to unlock the new variants. The Hellriggle has a new defensive variant with 120 rounds and a bipod. The Substellator 1906 comes with a sniper variant now, which actually might make that gun significantly more useful. The Hewitt now also comes with an optical variation, and the Martini Henry is going to have a sniper variant. And I gotta say, every single one of these guns sounds really exciting. The unlock requirements are pretty steep, so you're gonna have to put in a good amount of time with each of these level 10 guns, not to mention unlock them in the first place, which is a challenge in itself. And unfortunately in CTE, since none of my classes are even close to rank 10 yet, I can't even unlock the guns to start doing the challenges. So I don't know if I'll have any video footage of these new weapons for you during CTE. They may just come out in vanilla version and then we can test them out there. But I'm really excited about these 4 new weapon variants. They all sound really useful and interesting and good variations on the weapons that are already in the game, and they also offer a nice high-level challenge for the game, which is something that this game is desperately needed. Some good challenge factors for the progression system and dedicated players. Now, of course, one of the bigger aspects of this patch is the fact that DICE is testing out Ammo 2.0, the system which is going to redefine the way that classes resupply ammo in the game. They regenerate their own gadgets and how the support class is going to interact with them. This has gotten some pretty damn controversial feedback from the CTE Reddit. I haven't been particularly happy about the ideas behind it, but I wanted to keep an open mind and try it out in game and see how it works. Now, aside from all the details of this, one of the goals of this is to in fact reduce grenade and explosive spam in the game. And I do believe the changes accomplish this goal, but the question we really have to ask now is, does the end justify the means? And we can get into that right now. Let me try and use the basic AT grenade to explain how the new Ammo 2.0 system works. So AT grenades are the assault class's anti-tank grenades, but they often get used against infantry as well. So you spawn in the game with 2 anti-tank grenades at the very start of the round. If I use both of those anti-tank grenades, one of them will automatically replenish on its own. I won't be able to automatically replenish both grenades, but I'll be able to replenish one over the time of 35 seconds. Now, if I'm in the middle of a firefight after I throw both my grenades and I'm being suppressed, it's going to reduce my recharge rate, the auto recharge rate, by 66%. That means it's going to take 3 times as long to get that grenade back, meaning I'm probably not going to have a chance to auto replenish one of those grenades mid-firefight. So it shouldn't overly affect a firefight that's going on, but potentially after that firefight ends, I might get another AT grenade back to use in my next engagement. Now say I throw both of those AT grenades back to back and then I die and I spawn back in. Guess what? I'm actually only going to spawn with 1 AT grenade, and it's not going to auto replenish to 2 AT grenades. Basically, if I want to up my ammo count of AT grenades now, I'm going to need to find a supply box, a ammo box from the support class. And that will not only replenish me back up to 2 AT grenades if I need them, but it can actually max out my ammo count to 3 AT grenades, which is something you couldn't do before. So with the aid of the support class, you can potentially carry a whole lot more ammo than you would have initially. The interesting thing about this system though is that upon death, the game seems to remember how much ammo you have. So if I use all my AT grenades, respawn, I'll only spawn back in with 1. At the beginning of the round, I'll spawn in with 2. If I die with 2 AT grenades, it'll respawn me with 2 grenades as well. So there's a lot of little rules and nuances to this system. Also, when you spawn back in, your ammo count can be different depending on what gadget you have. For example, AT mines will replenish all the way to 3 if I die, even after I use them all, and K bullets will replenish to 2. In addition to which, the resupply time on gadgets tends to differ pretty substantially, and some of them won't resupply at all while you're being suppressed. So flare guns or tripwire bombs those don't resupply while you're in the middle of a firefight at all. You have to be completely unsuppressed. Now, the system might actually sound kind of complicated, and frankly, it is complicated. It's an interesting system, and I'm understanding the benefits of it, but the system at the same time is complicated enough that the average player isn't going to understand the nuances of it, or maybe even some of the basic features of it at all. And that's a question that I think the devs really need to start asking themselves more seriously. Are we designing systems that are overly complicated or unnecessarily complicated to the point where the average player base is going to be mostly ignorant of the way that the game actually works? Getting rid of a lot of the recoil compensation mechanics in Battlefield 1 has given the player base a lot less tools to refine their gunplay in Battlefield 1, or rather understand their gunplay, and so the system itself becomes somewhat unintuitive. I like systems that have sort of a force feedback sensation to them, where if you're in the game and you're playing it, you will get better. If you're perceptive of what's going on in the game itself, you should start to understand the nuances of the system. And stuff like the suppression system reducing the recharge rate for things, that's going to be a completely unknown fact to a lot of players in the game because it's not represented on screen in any way whatsoever. You're going to have to start digging through stats. It's one of the reasons why I don't like the suppression system in general. Aside from creating more bullet deviation, which most players don't agree with, it's also a system that's not intuitive or explained properly within the game itself. So having suppression also affecting recharge rates for gadgets and stuff like that is kind of a weird mechanic in that it's not communicated through the game. So a lot of players are going to be unaware of this, and only the quote-unquote elite players who read all the shit online and go through spreadsheets and whatnot are going to understand those nuanced benefits. But I think they should be designing a game where everybody can understand the benefits and the underlying mechanics so that we can start to play it more intelligently. So when it comes to Ammo 2.0, I recognize a lot of the benefits from the system. I appreciate having less grenade spam, and I, on a certain level, like the idea that if somebody spawns in the game and throws all their crap and then dies and respawns in, they're not going to have as much of that left over. It's a cool concept, but I also found it annoying while using it in practice, especially when I didn't understand why I was spawning in with one bullet for the AT rocket gun or one anti-tank grenade. I mean, considering that tanks can be incredibly overpowered in the right situation, creating one more obstacle for assault players to deal with in order to take out a tank is not going to balance out well. I think the theory is that most assault players should hopefully have 3 anti-tank grenades because they should be working with support classes to max out their ammo capacity, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen. I do need to play it more to find out, but I do think within this system they're going to change a lot of the infantry versus vehicle balance, and they're just going to have to really pay attention to how that is working from both sides. Are vehicles going to have an easier time of taking out infantry because the assault players are going to be weaker in general, or are the infantry going to start working together more so that they can start maxing out their ammo capacities to fight tanks better? Oddly enough, I wasn't really bothered by the auto resupply of grenades as much as I thought I was going to be bothered by it. I think DICE's timings in the game right now are pretty decent. They're better than they were before, and the fact that they're affected so much by suppression really makes them far less usable in the middle of firefights, and so that's a good balancing factor. I still want them to increase the detonation timer on the basic frag grenade. I don't like the fact that frags can so easily kill people with little skill. I think that's another thing that DICE needs to throw on top of this system to make it more palatable. The reduced explosive spam is in the game. It might not be as prevalent or noticeable on certain maps, and that can always be tweaked with the auto resupply timer and stuff like that. I think it's a cool system. I like a lot of things about it, but it needs to be communicated better through the user interface. Players need to understand the rate at which their gadgets are going to auto resupply, or how it's being affected by ammo kits out there, or why they're spawning in with less ammo than they had before, and why that's happening, and how it can be combated by working together with support players. This is a system that could easily become extremely annoying if you don't have any support players backing up your team, and maybe people will start switching over to supports if they notice that that's an issue, but it also could just be a frustrating system in which players become more and more reliant on the support class, which could be played by either oblivious players who aren't putting out ammo, or there just won't be enough players putting out ammo. So There's a lot of potential problems with the system. I don't hate it as much as I thought I was going to, but I think it needs a lot more work before it can be implemented in the vanilla version of Battlefield. And speaking of a lot more work, I think there's a lot of other issues that are more pressing than this one at the moment. I think Conquest needs an overhaul. I would have gladly supported Conquest 2.0 as DICE's next initiative rather than Ammo 2.0, and players spawning on dead teammates all the time and bayonet balance and other stuff in the game. I think there's a lot of areas of this game that could use more focus than Ammo 2.0, but it's something that I think if DICE keeps in the CTE for a while, starts refining the UI and communicating the system better through the user interface, it could be something that I could absolutely get behind and support for an overall deeper support class and enhanced teamwork strategy to the game. So anyway, I'll be playing CTE more to try and understand it better, and I encourage you guys, if you're really passionate about this issue or idea, to download CTE and try it out for yourself if you have premium available. So I think I'm going to end the video there. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.